Hello. Hi, Ronak. How are you? You are good? That's nice. So, how was your day? Was it good? Okay, that's great. Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, sir. How are you? Yeah, I'm also good. Okay, so my name is Rishikant Vaibhav. I am biology tutor over here. I have done my graduation in life science from Delhi University. I have done my master's in botany from Patna University. Okay, so Ronak, do you know why we are here today? Yes, okay. Today we are going to learn about glycolysis. Before I start this topic, I just want to know if you have read any particular books or watched any video about it. Okay, that's great. It means you like to read books, Ronak, right? Yeah, I also like to read books, Ronak. So, in this particular session, we are going to discuss about glycolysis, and in this session, we will be discussing what is glycolysis, what is the process of glycolysis, okay, and most important, why is glycolysis, okay. Okay, you know about it. Yeah, ATP production, that's nice, Ronak. For ATP production, besides ATP production, we can say glycolysis is central metabolic pathway, okay. Central metabolic pathway, it means it produces intermediates for various other pathways. For example, pyruvate, which gets converted into acetyl CoA and enters TCA cycle. Okay, it is an example, you can say. Okay, sorry. So we'll move to our first point. What is glycolysis? Okay, so glycolysis is first step in breakdown of glucose. Yeah, to release energy, and glucose is nothing just six carbon molecule. Okay, so glycolysis, we can say it is a series of reaction that takes place in cytoplasm of all prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Okay, but there is an exception here. In trypanosoma, not all the steps of glycolysis takes place in cytoplasm. Okay, only five, only five steps of glycolysis takes place in cytoplasm. This is an exception. Let me tell you one more thing about glycolysis, that glycolysis can operate in both aerobic and anaerobic condition. It means that glycolysis can operate even in the absence of oxygen and in the presence of oxygen. So now glycolysis can provide energy, but glycolysis alone cannot fulfill all the energy requirements. In fact, pyruvate, which is the end product of glycolysis, depending upon the condition, like aerobic condition, like under aerobic condition, it will get converted into acetyl CoA. Pyruvate will get converted into acetyl CoA, and this acetyl CoA will enter TCA cycle, which is tricarboxylic acid cycle, or citric acid cycle. For further ATP production. Okay. Now you must be wondering what will happen to pyruvate under anaerobic condition. Okay. So Although I will discuss it later in this session, but I'm just writing it here. Under anaerobic condition, pyruvate will either get converted into ethanol or lactate. You can say lactate or lactic acid. Okay. Now the steps, the process of glycolysis. Basically, sorry, glycolysis has 10 steps, and these steps are divided into two parts, or you can say phases. There are two phases of glycolysis. First phase is investment phase, and second phase is payoff phase. So what happens in investment phase? In investment phase, this glucose molecule will get converted into two molecule of glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate by utilizing two ATP molecule. Okay. So basically here we invested two ATP molecule to generate two glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate from one molecule of glucose. We can write glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate like this in short form. Now in payoff phase, this two molecule of glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate will get converted into pyruvate. Okay. And in turn, it will generate 4 ATP. Along with ATP, it will also generate two molecule of NADH. So now let's discuss this investment phase in detail. As I have told, this sorry, my bad. In this investment phase, the glucose will get converted into glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate, as I have told here. Okay. This now let's see this process in detail. So the first step in investment phase is that glucose will get converted into glucose 6 phosphate by using enzyme hexokinase. And basically what happens here is that one phosphate molecule will get attached to the sixth carbon of glucose. Okay. And this phosphate comes from ATP. Okay. Now, this glucose 6 phosphate will get converted into fructose 6 phosphate by using enzyme phosphohexoisomerase, which is enzyme number 2 in this diagram. I have added it here. So you can refer it while revising. Okay. Now, fructose 6 phosphate will get converted into fructose 1,6 bisphosphate, and the enzyme which catalyzes this reaction is phosphofructokinase 1. Okay. We can also say it as PFK1. We can call hexokinase as glucokinase also. And similarly, phosphohexoisomerase can also be called as phosphoglucoisomerase. Okay. Now, this fructose 1,6 bisphosphate in the presence of enzyme aldolase will get converted into one molecule of glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate and one molecule of dihydroxyacetone phosphate. We can write dihydroxyacetone phosphate as DHAP in short form. Okay. Now there is an enzyme here, triose phosphate isomerase. Okay. What happens is that this triose phosphate isomerase converts DHAP, which is dihydroxyacetone phosphate, into glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate. So generating another molecule of glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate here. So at the end of investment phase, there will be two molecule of glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate, and from here the payoff phase starts. Okay. So first five phases of glycolysis is first five phase of glycolysis is investment phase. Okay. Now we will move to the second phase, which is payoff phase. So what happens in this payoff phase is that this two molecule of glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate will get converted into two molecule of 1,3-bis phosphoglycerate. Although here it is written as two, but I'm just highlighting it as two molecule. But you can see that everywhere it is written as two. It means that there is two molecule of each compound. Okay. So two glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate will get converted into 1,3-bis phosphoglycerate. And the enzyme which catalyzes this reaction is glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate dehydrogenase. And in turn, it will generate two NADH plus. So this is the payoff phase, and two NADH is generated here. Now, this 1,3-bis phosphoglycerate is will get converted into 3 phosphoglycerate. Again, this will be a two molecule of 3 phosphoglycerate catalyzed by enzyme phosphoglycerate kinase number 7 here. Okay. And it will generate two ATP molecule. That's why we call it as payoff phase, because here it is giving us ATP molecule. Whereas in investment phase, we were giving ATP for the reaction, but here we are getting two ATP molecule. Okay. So now 3 phosphoglycerate will get converted into 2 phosphoglycerate under the influence of enzyme phosphoglycerate mutase, which is number 8 here. What happens here is that the phosphate from third position of glycerate just shifted to the second position of glycerate. Okay. Now here enolase enzyme will act and it will convert phosphoglycerate into phosphoenol pyruvate. Okay. Now this phosphoenol pyruvate under the influence of pyruvate kinase will produce two molecule of pyruvate and again generating two ATP. Okay. So glycolysis ends here. But what will happen to the pyruvate? As I have told you in the very beginning of this session, that pyruvate will have two fate under depending on the condition, under aerobic condition and under anaerobic condition. So under aerobic condition, pyruvate will get converted into acetyl CoA, and enzyme which catalyze this reaction is pyruvate dehydrogenase. Okay, and this acetyl CoA is will undergo TCA cycle, as I have told it. Okay. Under anaerobic condition, pyruvate will get converted into lactate by the enzyme lactate dehydrogenase, and NADH will be used to generate NAD plus. Now this NAD plus will be utilized again here to generate NADH plus. By this way, the glycolysis will continue. Or you can say glycolysis will operate continuously. Okay. Again, if enzyme pyruvate decarboxylase acts here, then it will convert pyruvate into acetaldehyde by removing carbon from pyruvate, and this acetaldehyde will get converted into ethanol by enzyme acetaldehyde dehydrogenase. Okay. And this again NAD plus will be used for continuation of glycolysis. So net gain from glycolysis, we invested 2 ATP in investment phase and 4 ATP produced in payoff phase. So 4 ATP minus, although we get 2 ATP, 4 ATP, but we have invested 2 ATP also. Okay. So 4 minus 2 is equal to 2 ATP, which is net gain of 2 molecule of ATP. Besides ATP, NADH is also produced. Okay. And this NADH, this one molecule of NADH, although 2 molecule of NADH is produced in glycolysis, okay, 2 molecule, but one NADH molecule gives us 2.5 molecule of ATP. We will discuss this when we will learn about electron transport chain. Okay, electron transport chain. We might be discussing this in the upcoming session, either next or next to next session. We will be discussing electron transport chain. Now let me ask you some questions here. Okay, so first tell me about two phases of glycolysis. What are the two phases of glycolysis? Yes, that's good. Investment and payoff phase. Okay. One more question. I will ask, what should I ask? What will be the fate of pyruvate? Fate of pyruvate under anaerobic condition. Under anaerobic condition. Yes, that's nice, Ronak. Either it will get converted into ethanol or lactate. Now let me ask you a tricky question. Let's see if you have noticed that or not. Okay. So tell me, Ronak, first tell me how many steps are there in glycolysis? Let me write it here. 10 steps, right? Okay. Now you tell me how many of steps out of these 10 steps are irreversible. Yes. How many of these are irreversible? Okay. Let's see. This is the sign that this reaction is irreversible. This is reversible reaction. Means it can go this way also. It can go this way also. Okay. This is also irreversible reaction. 2. This is also irreversible reaction. 3. And again, this is also irreversible reaction. Means total 4 steps are irreversible in glycolysis. Okay. So I hope you liked the session, Ronak. If you like the session, you have to give the rating. Yeah, your feedback is important, very important to us. Okay. Yeah. So how was the session according to you? Was it good? Okay, thank you so much. That's great. So I'm requesting you to call your parents, either mother or father. Yeah, that would be great. I just want to talk regarding the session. Yeah. Hello, ma'am. We just took the session with Ronak, and it was a great session. He's curious child. He just wants to learn more thing. Yeah, he gave all the answers. Basics were clear, but somehow I think revision and practice is must. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The way he answered is good, but there is a need of more clarity in answers. Yeah, yeah. And this is the particular segment where we will work and improve. Yes, ma'am. Yes. So, ma'am, I wanted to know from you also that what is your expectation from me and organization? Yeah, that's nice, ma'am. We will work on this definitely. We will give worksheets and assignments in the homework. Yeah, this will definitely help in getting clarity, and it will make a strong hold upon the topic. Yeah, yes, ma'am. By the way, he's doing great. Well, but somehow revision is necessary. Yeah, definitely. Yes, ma'am. So we will provide study material, notes, weekly tests. Yeah, yes, ma'am. That we will provide all the things. Yeah. Oh, you like the session? Thank you, ma'am. Regarding the discount which you were asking, I will convey the message. The counselor will call you definitely. Yeah. Okay, ma'am. So session was quite good. This was an interactive, engaging session. Yeah, he was learning a lot, and definitely I will work on the revision segment where I want him to improve. Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am. Have a nice day.